Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Could you do the invocation, please? Gita Dhyana.
You got cut off briefly.
I'm saying do the Gita Dhyana.
Okay. पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारणीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदिः कैवर्तक केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारत पंकजं कलिमलः प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयते मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Harihi Om. So today we will only do two verses, which is 6 and 7, because from 8 onwards we are going to be given some very important things which I want to do together in one go. So 8 to 12 we will do together. So today we will do verses 6 and 7. Before that, up to verse number 5, what we have learned right now. In verse number 1, forget one, which is Arjuna Vacha. He starts off where from Sri Bhagavan Vacha. He says, Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram nityabhidhiyate. Idam shariram, this body. Which body? The body that you think is you, right? Physically, the body that you think is you. Body, which is also in terms of the mind, the intellect, all of that, what we call as the body, that with which we identify, that is called kshetram. And that which enlivens this, is called kshetrajna. That which enlivens this is called kshetrajna. So from that point onwards, he moved on, and we learned that in verse 5, that the knowledge that I'm giving you about this kshetra and the kshetrajna is not very It is not something new. I am not teaching you something new. He says, Rishibhir Bahuda Geetam Chandobhir Vividhai Prathak Brahma Sutra Padeshchaiva Hetu Madhir Vinishchitaihi. So he very clearly, it has been given in the Brahma Sutra, it has been given in the Vedas, where Rishibhir Bahuda Geetam, Chanda in the Sama Vedas, all of this in many different ways, this has been taught. So don't think that I am trying to give you something new. That yes, it is old wine being packaged in a new bottle. So it is easier for us to grasp. See, if the old bottle was a big round pot, then holding it may have been difficult. Now I have a bottle with a nice neck and it has very attractive. There was one interesting experiment that was done by a professor of psychology, and such experiments I think only happen in the US. But then, so this guy, he brought in array of beautiful cups or array of cups. Some were beautiful, some were not so very beautiful, some were actually ugly, some were even cracked and chipped, and so on and so forth. And then he asked and then he said, there is coffee in all of these cups. There are 50 cups. There are 50 of you. Please choose whichever you want, whoever wants to come first. So all people, some of them rushed, and the cups which were the most beautiful got picked up the first. And then he asked, why did you pick up the cup? This looked good. Yes, absolutely. But what is inside is the same. So we are so stuck with the external that we forget what is inside. And inside is very clear, he says. Right? So in the entire, when we look at the entire set of Vedas and the way it has this, so therefore the packaging sometimes is also important. Right? The beautiful glass, the beautiful cup, then we will pick it up. Because that external is so very interesting.
In fact, life plays a much more cruel trick. Often the most beautiful cup will not have the best coffee.
So, you have to extend the cup to the word we use. Sab ghat mein Ram. Ghat ka matlab? Ghat is pot.
Hriday, man.
This is the pot. ये pot जो है, ये pot के अंदर में सब घट में राम. But the point is, हम घट के अंदर में अटके हुए हैं, pot को नहीं, हम घट के अंदर के राम को नहीं देख पाते हैं. And therefore, he goes on to explain in verse number 6. Firstly, what is this kshetra? So let's start with verse number 6. Mahabhutanyahankaro. Mahabhutanyahankaro. Buddhiravyaktamevacha. Buddhiravyaktamevacha. Mahabhutanyahankaro. Buddhiravyaktamevacha. Indriyani dashaikam cha. Panchachendriya gocharaha. Panchachendriya gocharaha. Mahabhutanyahankaro. Buddhiravyaktamevacha. Indriyani dashaikam cha. Panchachendriya gocharaha. Mahabhutani. Mahabhutani. So in Sankhya, there are 36 elements that comprise this entire universe. The 36 elements starts with what is called Shiva Tattva, that is the highest, and then from there, then there is Shakti, and then there is so on and so forth. Ultimately, it gets down to you and me and as individual souls, and so on and so forth. So these 36 elements, one of the set of the 36 elements is the 5 Mahabhutani. Right? So what are the 5 Mahabhutani? We all know. Kshiti, Ap, Marut, Tej, Vyom. Right? So, or Kshiti, Ap, Tej, Marut, Vyom. To put it in a correct order. So Kshiti means earth. So all that is physically there and so on and so forth. Then that which is liquid, the Apa. Then there is energy. Then there is air. And then there is finally space. And space being the subtlest, it is the most pervasive. Kshiti being the most gross is the least pervasive. Right? Even in our own case, see, your body is very limited. It can only exist in one particular place at one particular point of time. But your mind, being more subtle, has the ability to be beyond the body, isn't it? I mean, if you can be strong enough to have your mind focused so well that you want to go to Pluto, you will reach Pluto. So your mind can project because it is subtle. So the subtler it is, and this is natural physics, right? The more subtle and particular thing is, the more it will be pervasive. So here he says Mahabhutani, the great elements. Ahankaraha, the I sense, the ego. Buddhi, the intellect. Avyaktam, the unmanifested primordial matter. Eva, indeed. Cha, and. Indriyani, the senses. Dasha Dashaikam, the 11 of them. Now, when he says 11, here he is including, see, in the earlier part, he has not included the manas that we talk about, the seat of emotions. So here when he says Dashaikam, he talks of the 11, where he's talking of the 5, the karma indriya, and the 5 jnanindriyas, and the mana. And the indriya gocharaha. Gochara means, go means cow. Go also means senses. Charaha means where the senses go. Right? So indriya gochara, where the indriyas go. The objects towards which the indriya is attracted. Now, firstly, as a quick revision, we have done this before, so let's see a quick revision. Which are the 5 jnanindriyas?
Buddhi, man, chitta, ahankar.
Jnanindriya.
Gyanendriya is all our eye, ear, nose, and of course the skin.
Yeah. Sight, smell.
Sight, yeah.
Taste.
No, not sight, smell. Not sight, smell.
Indriya is
eye,
nose,
ear, nose, skin,
tongue,
that is for touch, and the
tongue and skin.
yeah. Sorry, our sex organs.
No.
Is it? No.
No. Tongue for taste.
Tongue, taste. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. These are the
So
5.
the 5 jnanindriyas, and what are the 5 karma indriyas?
Should be the
hands, legs, and stuff.
hands, legs.
What is that stuff? The stuff is what is important. What are the 5?
5. So we are missing one.
Hands, legs, mouth.
Thanks. हाथ पैर मुंह और सेक्स organ
And anus.
or Buddha.
Correct. Anus. Right. So hand, feet, mouth, the anus, and the sex organs and the genitals. These are the jnanindriyas. Karmendriyas. Now, one of them, therefore, you can see very closely, while it is not exactly the same, but is both in the jnanindriya and the karmendriya. Which one?
The mouth.
Correct. The mouth. Gurudev used to say, only one indriya needs to be controlled. Then you will control 2. Stop your tongue from taking in and stop your tongue from throwing out. Life will become very easy. Without thinking, don't speak. Act, don't react. Right? It was a mantra that he used to talk about. Act, don't react. All the time. So therefore, if we can control our taste, and we say, and then he says there are 5 indriya gochara. What are the 5 indriya gochara?
बुद्धि
लिंक देम नहीं लिंक कीजिए इंद्रिय के साथ इंद्रिय के गोचर को लिंक कीजिए
आंख है तो दृष्टि हो जाएगी वो जाएगी
So
उसके
गोचर
साथ।
गो दृष्टि नहीं, दृष्टि आपकी शक्ति है, आंख की। किसकी ओर उसको आकर्षित होती है? व्हाट इज इट अट्रैक्टेड टू?
संसार में जो भी चीजें दिखाई देती है उनकी ओर।
Light.
तो उसको देयरफॉर नो, इट इज
Light.
रूपा, इट इज कॉल्ड रूपा।
रूप, यस, एग्जैक्टली, रूप रूप
फॉर
रूप।
फॉर्म,
फॉर्म,
right?
फॉर्म।
So the eye is oriented towards light. It is therefore looking at rupa, right? What about the nose?
Smell.
स्मेल।
Well,
The nose has smell, right?
गंध।
Gandha, rupa gandha ho gaya. What about the tongue?
रस।
rasa.
Ras, taste. Taste is rasa. What about the
Taste.
skin?
Touch.
स्पर्श।
Touch, which
स्पर्श।
is called sparsha. And then finally the ears?
Throat. Sound.
श्रवण। श्रवण।
Sound. So nada. Shabda
नाद।
ya nada. Shabda ya nada. Now, each of these is also linked to a Mahabhuta. The ears are related to sound, which is related to space, Akasha. Right? The eyes are related to light, which is related to Teja or Agni. The nose is related to smell, which is related to earth, Prithvi or Bhumi. The tongue is related to rasa, which is related to apaha, water.
Yeah.
And skin is related to sparsha, which is related to air. Right? Now tell me, have you ever felt itchy on your skin? Not when a
Anytime.
mosquito has, मच्छर ने काटा वैसा नहीं, बस ऐसी ही खुजली आ गई, होता है? Yes,
Many
no?
times when we are doing our puja and jap starting, then itching is starting.
ओके, बट मेरे को ये बताइए, तो अभी कौन सी इंद्रिय गोचर है इसके अंदर में अटका? क्योंकि आपको तो किसी ने टच नहीं किया, आप कुछ देख भी नहीं पा रहे हैं।
मन ही ले जा रहा है वहां पर, कुछ हो रहा है मुझे।
स्पर्श, व्हाट इज
स्पर्श भी
टचिंग
नहीं
यू?
है।
व्हाट इज टचिंग यू?
Nothing is, मन is touching. My man is going here and here.
You're very
Go
right.
there.
You're very right. What is interesting is that the mana creates the gochara. So when he says idam shariram kshetram, then the gochara should also be in the sharira, isn't it? If the gochara is outside the sharira, then it cannot be part of kshetram. Not yet, at least. Yeah, I'll come back to you, Raghuji. So therefore, if you go through this analysis, you realize that your mind creates, for example, you feel hungry. Very clear feeling, isn't it? भूख लगी है, क्या हुआ? किसी ने स्पर्श किया क्या? अग्नि बढ़ गई क्या? कुछ नहीं हुआ, आपका मन आपके गोचर को उत्पन्न कर रहा है. Your man creates the gochara in your body, and therefore Krishna, when he lists out from Mahabhutani and he goes up to Indriya Gochara, it is all within us. Right? Yes, Raghuji.
How do you know that it is the mind that is causing it and not some microscopic insect on your skin that is always
that's
there?
possible.
You know,
I'm not saying
around.
Yeah, of course. That is Sparsha. That is definitely Sparsha. I feel itchy if a mosquito comes and bites me. That is Sparsha. There is no doubt about that. But a lot of times you suddenly said, I'm feeling itchy. But there's no reason, or at least you are not aware of any reason that there is an itchiness. That itchiness is because of... So therefore, say, another example. How the Indriya Gochara get into you. Right? When you're physically, your Indriyas have shut down in Swapnavastha, and yet you still experience all the gocharas, isn't it? Where did they come from then? Because they were there. They are existing in your mind. You have created them already. They exist in the external world. But you have internalized them so much that they can be created in your own mind. And therefore, here he says very clearly that this Mahabhuta, Ahamkara, Buddhi, the entire set of all the Avyakta, all the Indriyas, the Manas, and the 5 Indriya Gochara, they are all nothing but the Kshetra. Now, if you link this with the Panchakosha, right? Let us link this to the Panchakosha for a better understanding. So, if you look at the Panchakosha, what is the first kosha that we see?
Annamaya.
Annamaya.
Annamaya kosha. And what is it made up of?
एलिमेंट्स जो भी धरती पे चीजें हैं वो खाया अन्न वन्न उसको उसी से हमारा शरीर बना है.
No, your body is made out of 5. No, Annamaya kosha is made out of the 5 Mahabhutani. It is made out of the Mahabhutani. What about the Pranamaya kosha?
Life forces.
Life.
Which is the which is the Avyakta. Right?
दिखाई नहीं देता है.
जो दिखाई नहीं देता अव्यक्त है वो अव्यक्त है. प्राणमय कोश. मनोमय कोश क्लियरली इसके अंदर में दशैकम मन बोला ही है. विज्ञानमय कोश उसके अंदर में उसने बुद्धि भी बोला है. आनंदमय कोश इसका कहाँ है उल्लेख इसके अंदर में?
इसका इन सब चीजों को हम पार कर जाएंगे तब जाके हमें आनंद की
ये वर्स के अंदर में
समचित
इस इन दिस वर्स मैं इस वर्स के साथ कोरिलेट कर रहा हूं. तो महाभूतानि अन्नमय कोश, अव्यक्त प्राणमय कोश, मन मनोमय कोश, बुद्धि विज्ञानमय कोश, राइट? आनंदमय कोश विच वन?
सभी इंद्रियों को.
सॉरी Raghuji, you said something? Correct. Ahamkara. Because I have this I sense, therefore I have vasanas. And that vasana sheath is what is called the Anandamaya kosha. Name pancha koshaha. I am not the 5 koshas. Right? I am not the kshetra. See, what is this verse 6 telling us? If you go back to Brahma Sutra or if you go back to Tattva Bodha, then you remember that one of the biggest vicharas that we are supposed to do is Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Right? Shat Sampat. One of the Sampat is called Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Knowing what is the Atman and knowing what is not the Atman. What is the difference? The difference is the fact that, very simply, that Anatma will keep changing. Atma will not change. So he therefore goes on in the next verse and talks about some of the things that we experience because of this acting of these 5 koshas. Again, just to link also further into another theory, is that these 5 can be also linked to what is called the 3 sharira. In Tattva Bodha, we had 3 shariras. Right? In Taittiriya Upanishad, we have Pancha Sharira. So in Taittiriya Upanishad, we have 3 shariras. Anybody remembers what are the 3 shariras in Tattva Bodha?
Last body, subtle body, and causal body.
Correct. What are the technical names for it?
Karana Sharira,
कारण शरीर,
स्थूल शरीर.
स्थूल शरीर.
बीच वाला क्या बोला आपने वीना जी?
कायिक.
It's called Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira. So Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira. Now you see very interestingly, when we say that a person is dead, what has left, or what is it that when we say, what are the things that have become inactive according to this?
चेतना निकल जाती है, स्थूल नहीं.
सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्थूल शरीरा has gone.
स्थूल शरीर.
Isn't it? The sthula sharira has become inactive. We say he has died. Sthula Sharira means which ones? Panchakosha mein saath link karo. Which ones?
Annamaya.
Akash.
Annamaya
Pranamaya, Pranamaya.
and Pranamaya. The air you
Pranamaya.
can.
Pranamaya.
Dono.
Pranamaya.
So the Annamaya and the Pranamaya, when they have gone, so that is the Sthula Sharira. Which is the Sukshma Sharira?
Manomaya,
Anandamaya.
Vijnanamaya.
Manomaya and Vijnanamaya.
Vijnana.
These are what we call in Kriya, this is called energy. Your energy body. Right? Those of you who follow Sadhguru, you will find him mentioning the energy body a number of times. That energy body is what we call in Vedanta, we call it Sukshma Sharira. The entire set of death rituals that are followed in Sanatan Dharma are not about the Sukshma Sharira, the Sthula Sharira. They are about the Sukshma Sharira. They are not about the Karana Sharira also. Why? Because the Karana Sharira has taken its bag of Rasagullas and it has gone.
Yeah.
It has gone. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. Having discarded those, the Sukshma and the Sthula Sharira, it has gone. It has taken the bag of Rasgullas and gone. Karana Sharira. And it has gone and will take another birth because of the Karana, the bag. If you can drop the bag, you will not have to come back. Our problem is we take out something from the bag, we put in two more things in the bag. Right? The Sukshma Sharira, which is the Manomaya and the Vijnanamaya, the energy that has been surrounded by this being who was there, the Atman, which is the Jivatma, which has not yet understood that it is not separate from the Paramatma because of the Karana Sharira, it leaves behind an energy imprint. And therefore, all the mantras, all the rituals, they are aimed at dissipating that energy. So it is not, they say, na, मेरा पिताजी के आत्मा के लिए शांति के लिए श्राद्ध कर रहा हूं. Unfortunately, that is not the meaning. And the best author for this is somebody who had lost belief in this set of rituals completely. His name is Mandan Mishra. Mandan Mishra became Sureshwaracharya after having been defeated by Shankaracharya, and his wife Ubhay Bharati declared Shankaracharya as the winner. Both of them became sannyasis. And then Sureshwaracharya, who is to follow him around, then said that, Guruji, आपने तो सब कुछ कर दिया. विष्णु सहस्रनाम पर टिप्पणी लिख दिया, उपनिषद पर टिप्पणी लिख दिया, ब्रह्मसूत्र पर टिप्पणी लिख दिया, भगवद गीता पे टिप्पणी लिख दिया, हजारों श्लोक बना दिए, तो मैं क्या करूं? तो बोले एक काम करो, पितृकार्य के ऊपर में एक टिप्पणी लिखो. है पितृकार्य यूजलेस है, यही बोल के आपने मुझे हरा दिया था डिबेट में. नाउ यू आर टेलिंग मी टू राइट अ टिप्पणी ऑन दैट. सेड या, गो डू इट. That's when he did his manan on that. Because Mandan Mishra's understanding of that particular set of rituals was at the ritualistic level. He was a karmakandi. They were at the ritualistic level. When he started internalizing them, sorry, he then explained them to us at a very beautiful level, where he says that each of these, how they impact the energy and how it is helping us in dissipating that energy. Completely aside, the existence of so-called ghosts is nothing but a very intense energy left behind by a particular person. Palpable enough for somebody else to be able to feel it, sense it, interact with it. That is called a ghost, bhoot. Bhoot is not Atma. Right? So, anyway, that is completely aside. Yes, you raised your hand, Raghuji.
Yeah. So, I have always a little bit of a pondering. You see, they keep saying, you got to do this so that you don't come back. Now, the, the problem is I can fully understand why the spiritual knowledge is necessary for us to be at peace in this life and actually live a better life. I have no questions about that. But the moment you actually realize, then there is no you left. So the question of coming back doesn't arise, and it is irrelevant because all these jivatmas that are around were also created. So they keep continuing to be created because the Paramatma keep wanting to come back in various forms. He'll keep coming back. So the fact that he'll come back or not becomes irrelevant. I, I think the only reason they keep saying that is to keep giving somebody a fear that, oh, if you get born again, then you're going to suffer again. So therefore, you should not try not to be born again. So therefore, you should actually get realization. But I find this a little ironic in the whole process.
So you have to understand that when we analyze and we look at it from various different viewpoints or understanding levels, you have to use language which has to be understandable, which is why even Acharya himself talks about what? He says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha samsare bahuduttare, kripaya pare pahi murare, he says. He says it himself. Why? It's not about not coming back or whether coming back is irrelevant, while there is no question of coming back. Yes, of course, that is the Advaitic ultimate reality. You know it. But to reach it, to be able to become it, right? To become it. What does it say? Who becomes Brahman? Who becomes Brahman? He who knows Brahman becomes Brahmagya iti Brahman bhavati, isn't it? He who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. To know Brahman is becoming Brahman, but to know it, you need steps to reach there. So those steps that are required include, at the very basic level, even the normal day-to-day acharam that is expected. Karagre vasati Lakshmi, karamule Saraswati. Yes, that is needed. So just give me 1 second, please. So therefore, these are language tools that are used for us to understand. But understanding does not lead to experience. Experience comes on its own, using that knowledge at a point of time when the knowledge has purified yourself enough. And the glass is so pure and so shining that the reflection makes it complete. That is where we go. See, realization is not knowledge. This whole aspect of how we go forward. Have I told you the story about Yudhishthira in Yaksha Prashna? So, Yudhishthira in Yaksha Prashna, if you have not read Yaksha Prashna, you must read it. It's a fantastic set of question answers. This Yaksha Prashna, he asks, Yamadharmaraja asks, just 1 second. Yamadharmaraja asks, what is the most surprising thing in this world? And he says, and when I tell the story, I normally add some color to it. So he says, I was standing on the veranda of my house, and near my house there is a crematorium, and every day I would see a lot of people being carried there. राम नाम सत्य है, सब रोज बोलते जाते हैं. मैं वरांडा पे बैठ के चाय पीता होता हूँ, तब देखता हूँ नीचे से इतने सारे लोग जा रहे हैं, मगर मैं सोचता हूँ मेरा तो ऐसा नहीं. And Yamadharmaraj is very happy with it. He says, yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. Now, time lapse, we jump. Chakravarti Yudhishthir Raja established a particular tradition. Every day in the morning, learned Brahmins would come and they would be given सोने की मुद्रा, तो स्वर्ण मुद्रा दी जाती थी दान में, दक्षिणा में, not दान. So one day one person came all the way from Ujjain. Now Ujjain to Hastinapur is a long distance, right? You have to remember that once the Kauravas were defeated, the Pandavas were no longer existing. They also became Kauravas, right? They are Kuruvamshis. And they became Rajas of Hastinapur, not of Indraprastha. So they were sitting in Hastinapur. And this person came and said, I've come all the way from Ujjain. I came by foot and I have come for my Swarna Mudra. So Yudhishthir says, please come tomorrow. Today's Sabha is ended. Just at that time, there was a huge bell in the courtyard which was to be rung whenever any big enemy is defeated. They saw him ringing that bell. सब कोई दौड़ा, किस राक्षस को मार के आया? नहीं, राक्षस नहीं. ज्येष्ठ श्री ने यमराज के ऊपर एक दिन की विजय प्राप्त कर ली है. उन्होंने कहा, कल आके स्वर्ण मुद्रा लेके जाना. Knowledge is not realization. And knowledge is a big trap. Please understand that. Knowledge is a very big trap. In chapter 14, when we will study chapter 14, you will see that Sattva Guna traps us in Nirmalatvat, Jnanatvat. He uses these words. In cleanliness, in knowledge, Sattva Guna traps us. The ties of Sattva Guna are very subtle. The threads used by Sattva Guna are so subtle that you don't even know that you have got tied. See, in Tamas or in Rajas, it's very simple. You know that, okay, I am running after wealth, I am running after women, I am running after my new car, I am running after this, I am running after that. Or in Tamas, you know that, okay, I know I am being lazy, but then I still want to be lazy. But Sattva Guna can tie you very, very deeply and you will never escape the forest. So you have to be very careful with knowledge. Knowledge in its own, by its own self, is useless. Knowledge used for manan, for vichara, in silence, in introspection, is the tool that is used for polishing. So let us move on. Verse number 7. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkham. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkham. Sanghatascetanadritihi. Sanghatascetanadritihi. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkham. Sanghatascetanadritihi. Etat kshetram samasena. Etat kshetram samasena. Sabikaram udahritam. Sabikaram udahritam. Etat kshetram samasena. Sabikaram udahritam. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkham. Sanghatascetanadritihi. Etat kshetram samasena. Savikaram udahritam. Ichha, desire, dvesha, aversion, sukham, happiness, dukkham, misery, sanghata, the aggregate of all of this, chetana, consciousness, we will examine that a little bit, dhriti, the willpower, etat, all of these, kshetram, they are the field of activities, samasena, comprise, savikaram, with their modifications, udahritam, so it is said. So it is said that desire, aversion, happiness, misery, the body, the consciousness, the will, all of these comprise the field of action and its modifications. Now, one interesting thing here, first and foremost, he very clearly brings in one word, says body and its modifications, kshetram and its modifications. Extrapolate that, and you know that the kshetram will undergo modifications. So very simply, it says anything that has got modifications in it is kshetram. Anything that modifies, anything that changes is therefore kshetram. See, when he says kshetram with all its modifications, by definition, therefore, it has modifications or the power to modify itself. उसमें बदलाव आएगा. तो कोई भी चीज जिसमें बदलाव आता है वो क्षेत्र है. So you look into the mirror. Today I was attending a thread ceremony of a friend's grandson, and the son had come to Shabarimala with us almost 20 years back. And so when I saw him, and I was seeing him after a very long time, I was seeing the son after a very long time, about 20 years. So, and I looked at him and I said, oh God, this means that I also become old. Because his hair has become white, he's got a whitish beard, and so on and so forth, right? Now, in my mind, I haven't changed. Correct? Analyze this for all of us. Each one of us will say the same thing. I haven't changed. But it's when something happens outside you that my body has changed. Now, you don't say my body has changed. What do you say? Oh, I have become old. I have become old. No, but the I that you really were thinking of yourself as that which has not changed is the real I. That identification doesn't exist for us. That is the Atma, Anatma, Viveka that is required as a Shat Sampat, one of the Sampats. Yes, I'll come back to you. So therefore, let us quickly look at all of these words again. Ichha, desire, right? Where desire is a function of what? What is a desire a function of? Desire kahan se utpanna hota hai? It's a function of what would be the, how will we express this mathematically? If D is equal to F bracket what? What, comma, what? That's the equation that I'm looking at.
Expectation of something in future?
No, so where is it coming? All of that is coming from where?
Mind.
Mind and intellect, right? It is
Intellect
not a
also,
function.
yeah.
It is not a function of the body.
Yeah.
It is not a function of the body. At least Vedanta says it is not a function of the body. So, Sudhir, just to, I saw your smile, so therefore I'm just commenting on the fact that maths was always my best subject and I've always been in love with maths. So even today, I have a few websites that I keep going into just to play around with maths, do mathematical riddles and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
I love that subject. And I find that subject, I mean, I'm in awe of Ramanujan because of the fact that when you really play around with numbers, you realize the intricacies of how this universe has got created. And those intricacies cannot be without a driving intelligence. It cannot be random. So yes, Raghuji.
Yeah, something you just said moved me deeply. Actually, what happens, you mentioned you have this friend of yours who came to Sabarimala 20 years ago. Now he is celebrating the Upanayam of his son, and when you are attending the ceremony, that's when you suddenly realize that you had become old. And I'm looking at that, you realize that because you still remember the bond and connection you have with this person who came 20 years ago. You know where you are in place with him. So therefore, when you see he has grown old, you realize you also have grown old. And I was always, they keep telling, don't live in the past, which is memory. Don't live in the future, which is fears. Okay, live in the present. So why memory? Why fears? then okay. And I see my parents, as they proceed through dementia, they have lost both past and future. They're sitting in a strange way. They're sitting in the present. Now, this thing about realizing that you're old is no longer possible for a father, because he has forgotten his connection with the people around him. He sees me with gray hair, and when I came back from Kailasha with a white beard, he thought I was his father. He doesn't think that he has become old. He doesn't think that thought doesn't cross his mind. He thought I'd become father. That's why I went and shaved off my beard, so that at least I don't look that old. But you know, that that thing, that we don't realize how much all our functions have an intrinsic role to play in our lives, to give us a rock to hold on to. And when they go, how our life changes. But then the Atman remains the Atman. Like you said, you never felt you changed until you see some external signs.
Correct. So he says Ichha. And Ichha rises from, as I said, from the Manas and the Buddhi. Right? So Ichha is basically, it's a longing that is created by a feeling of lack. Right? I don't have this is where the Ichha comes from. Feeling of lack. मेरे पास ये नहीं है. जो भी होगा वो, कुछ भी हो सकता है. मेरा शरीर अच्छा नहीं है. मेरे पास वस्तुएं अच्छी नहीं है. मुझे ऐसा अच्छा दिखना चाहिए. Right? I need to color my hair because I want to look younger. Or I want to build muscles because I want to be looking like Hrithik Roshan or whatever else. Right? All of that is because of a longing, of a feeling of lack. Advaita takes you to a point where Ichha cannot exist by default. It will go away, because you attain Purnata. When we talk of so-called realization in Advaita Vedanta, the term used for that is attaining Purnata. He has become whole. जब वो पूर्ण हो जाता है तो उसके अंदर में और कुछ किसी चीज की जगह ही नहीं. So that Purnata, so very beautifully, Sri Krishna, when he puts out all of these, Ichha, Dvesha, Dhriti, we'll look at Dhriti also. When he puts out all of these, he's actually telling you that these will vanish in the Kshetragya. In the Kshetra alone, these can exist. They cannot exist in the Kshetragya, by definition. So he says, Ichha, Dvesha. Again, where does Dvesha come from? So Dvesha comes from a very beautiful thing in the Upanishads, where it says, fear arises when there is two. When there is only one, there can be no fear. Right? और मैं ये एग्जांपल बहुत बार दे चुका हूँ. जब मेरी मम्मी, मैं छोटा था, and luckily thanks to Gurudev, I've never been afraid. I've never felt fear. So does this mean that so if you're not having fear is not different? I've managed to conquer my fear. I would rather say that it's not that I don't have fear. उधर मत जाना, उधर ना कोई नहीं है. Now, if somebody tells me उधर कोई नहीं है, तो उधर किस चीज का डर है फिर? समझ में आ रहा है कुछ? देखिए, मैं उधर कोई नहीं है तो मुझे हार्म करने के लिए कुछ नहीं है ना. There's nothing to harm me there. Now, if in this universe I alone exist, then is there a possibility of aversion? Gurudev, in one of the army speeches, it's a YouTube video, you can look for it. I don't remember the exact video. You can, Swami Chinmayananda in an army talk. He talks about this. And this was immediately after the 71 war in Pakistan, where the Pakistan-Bangladesh war. And there was a lot of this anti-Pakistani Muslim sort of feeling, right? It wasn't Muslim feeling, it was anti-Pakistani Muslim feeling. Because Bangladeshis were also Muslims, but they were so-called pro-India. They proved themselves to be not pro-India later on, but that's different. So that's geopolitics for you. But at that time, he gave the speech and he said, today morning, I was trying to clean my eye and my finger poked my eye. So I told my finger, दूसरी बार करेगा तो मैं तेरा उंगली तेरे को काट दूंगा. And people started laughing. After this stopped laughing, he said, नहीं करेंगे ना ऐसा, क्योंकि उंगली भी मैं ही हूं. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam does not have any boundaries. No national boundaries. No racial boundaries. Aversion is a clear indication for us to understand that we are still struggling with our feelings, with our dualities. Then he says, both Sukha and Dukha. Now, Sukha, when does it come? When the results are agreeable to what I expected. Correct? You sleep on a bed. What are you expecting? That the bed will be soft, there you will get a nice night's sleep. When that happens, you say, sukh se soya. When the results are not in line with the expectations, what do you have? Dukha. One of the meanings of dukkha is not grief, but also misery. Different level altogether, but misery. So why is that happening? Oh, you expected. So where is the problem? The problem is the expectation. The problem is the expectation. The problem is not in the bed. The problem is in the expectation. Any of you remember Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales? You remember the story of the princess and the pea? Any of you? Right? A true princess will be able to find the pea in any level of mattresses, and he puts a pea under some 20 mattresses, and this lady cannot sleep because she says, "Ore kuch to sara raat mein tang ho gayi. There was some rocks under my bed." What is the expectation over there? Oh, I have so many feather beds, this bed, that bed. I should be able to sleep well. So here he says, Sukha and Dukha. Let us take up Dhriti. What is Dhriti? Dhriti is the force of will that keeps us in action. And therefore, will is what actually sets Sarvarambha Parityagi. Do you remember those words earlier? Sarvarambha Parityagi. What does that mean? That you do not need to be living in the will keeps you in the future. Sukha and Dukha keeps you in expectation today. Will keeps you in the future. I want to go there. I want to go there. I will go there. And if you and Raghuji, if you and Sitaji and I had all that extreme willpower, and that accident happened on the fifth hill in Vilayangiri, we would have been in misery. But thanks to our own training, thanks to the fact that it was something that we could manage to say that, oh, fine, this happened, let us come back. Yes, physically there was a huge amount of trouble. For men, it was fairly easier comparatively because at least we could go out into the bushes and do our jobs. For the ladies, Priya and Sitaji, they would have gone to the toilet at 5 o'clock in the morning and till night 8, 9, there was no facility over there. You go through that, God. But so I am driven by willpower. So he is extremely strong-willed. It also means that a strong-willed person is bound to be living in the future and therefore living in the possibility of expectations not being met. Or should I therefore not have willpower? No, you should have willpower. What is not right is the expectation of what the willpower will do. Focusing your willpower on creating purpose, very good. Focusing your willpower on creating action, very good. But what happens is focusing your willpower on getting something, result, is where we cause all that disturbance in our own mind. And the last word we want to take up is Chetana. What is Chetana? Now, just to give you a background here, firstly, Chetana is not Chit. So there is a difference. So what are we talking about?
The sentience, or whatever we call it, the life force.
Very good. Very, very good. Perfect. This is exactly what we did that in Dhrtarashtra Vivek, right? The reflected consciousness.
Yeah.
So that
when we in the Dhrtarashtra Vivek class, you gave a very beautiful explanation for one of my questions about non-vegetarian eating non-veg and stuff. And you said that whether eating non-veg or veg is not the question, it is what is the intention. And I thought that was also in terms of when we are describing sukha, dukkha, dhriti, etc.
exactly.
That right intention of the action, what was the intention of your action determines whether something is right or wrong, and not the action itself. And I guess somewhere in this, that also was a good
Which
description.
brings us to, absolutely, and thanks Sudhir for bringing that up. Because if you remember when we were in that camp, we talked about the Uday Kotak's 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
I think you brought it up, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about the fact that the means will justify the end. No, sorry, the end will justify the means. But if the end is also set by me, then that end is not my intent, right? The end is my desire. It's not my intent. So which is where Krishna talks of saying, okay, I need to establish dharma. That establishing dharma, the definition of that end is not from Krishna himself. It is from the context of dharma for that particular period. What is right, what is wrong is not decided by Krishna. He is deciding the means to attain what is right and wrong, which has not been decided by him. And therefore, yes, you are right. Therefore, Dhriti is right. Is desire wrong? No, desire is not wrong. But can I amend that desire to take me to one higher level rather than keep me trapped in the morass of where we are? I have very low willpower. One devotee comes and tells Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, I have very low willpower. Every time I see something, I want to do it, or I want to eat it, or I want to run towards it. Right? Many of us have heard this particular joke, right? I have given up smoking 20 times a day. Right? So what is the solution to this? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa very beautifully says, change the desire, and when that desire arises, can you refocus that desire? Because the desire in itself has started creating ripples in your mind. Can you refocus that and change it to a higher purpose and say, yes, mother, thou I am going to offer this desire at your feet. What happened? The desire didn't go away. But you change the focus of the desire. And over a period of time, you start training your mind not to generate more desire. So that is the meaning of this. What we will do is the next session, 8 to 12 will take at least 5 to 6 classes. But I would appreciate if you could read through 8 to 12. Just read them not from a perspective of qualities. Although the Gita talks to us in terms of qualities. It starts with amanitvam, madhambitvam, etc., etc. Right? As qualities. instead of qualities, put them as practices. Put them as practices. And there is a reason why I say this. See, if I say qualities, then I get an escape route. ये क्वालिटी मेरे में नहीं है तो मैं क्षेत्र क्षेत्र के विभाग कभी नहीं कर पाऊंगा. ये क्वालिटी मेरे में नहीं है. बोलना बहुत इजी हो गया. मगर मैं यदि ये बोलूं कि ये एक प्रैक्टिस है, तो फिर तो सब कोई कर सकता है, कोई भी लेवल पे. बिगिनर, एडवांस्ड, इंटरमीडिएट, सुपर एडवांस, डजंट मैटर, कोई भी लेवल पे. अमानित्वम एक प्रैक्टिस है, अवदंभित्वम एक प्रैक्टिस है. So read them. That's your homework. Read them and let's have a discussion on this in the next class. However, the next class will not be on next Sunday. It will be the Sunday after that. Next Sunday, I am off for another camp, so I will not be there for this session. Can we close? शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.